Hello, good evening. Welcome to Brothers of MGTOW. I be your host, a brother of MGTOW, and this is episode 17. Okay, basically, I'm just gonna do more MGTOW thoughts today. I'm gonna freestyle it a little. I'm gonna sort of start where I left off last time. So I'll take this off. By the way, I take this off a fair bit now because I don't like the glare, especially at night time. And that's the only time the only time I got to make videos anyway for you guys. Okay, so I sort of want to start off where I left off last time. So if you didn't pay attention, I sort of took a quick break, inverted comma, from making these videos to sort of give a little PSA. It was basically, long story short, a feminist that publicly shames an autistic man just for asking for a high five. So this is very similar to I think the story. So this was on a Melbourne tram. I live in Sydney now, but I'm originally from Melbourne, so I know a bit about the whole story. Um, so this, sorry, so this story, right, has a little has some similarities to sort of that case in I think Florida, was it, in America, where a black woman harassed a man who just said hello to her. And this was sort of like your, hey, what's up? Nothing crazy. Like you just see someone walking past the street and you just say hi, what's up? And then a black woman got triggered and she threatened the man, and I think she was trying to threaten by calling the cops, but she never followed through. The man ended up following through, trying quite hard to do it. But yeah, as I said, the whole point is it just has very similar undertones to it. Where, and this, by the way, this is an autistic person. I've wrote this in a comment on one of the anti-feminism pages. An autistic person, one of his biggest issues is self-expression, right? There is a lot going on in his mind, in an autistic man's mind, but it's very hard to get it out because, I mean, while autism is a very broad spectrum, a big characterization of it is the lack of ability to clearly express oneself, right? So eventually, because it's tricky, eventually that autistic man, he may find a home he may find a way to express himself, but oftentimes that method does not really conform to certain societal norms. Now, if the feminists or the liberal people were really about social acceptance, they would, tolerate an autistic man, like an autist. They would tolerate someone who has autism. But obviously, the exact opposite happened last Sunday, and it was a big fuck you to me. It was a bit like fuck you for even trying to do this. I mean, you have no shame. Obviously, she deleted her Facebook photo. I don't wish death upon anyone, but I hope she suicided. I know she probably didn't, but. And then the worst of the worst decided to get involved. Fucking Clementine Ford. Fucking bitch. She is cancer to. She's I don't know. She's like AIDS accelerated 20 times. AIDS something that could last years or something. She could kill you with AIDS in a day. That's how cancerous she is. She decided to get involved and obviously stood by the feminist. And then when things started to unravel, these two, so Laura Miller is the name. I'm going to publicly shame this person. Her name is Laura Miller. Okay, I don't know exactly which Laura Miller. It's two very common names, but there's also Clementine Ford. That name is taboo as fuck. Okay, those two people, I'm publicly shaming them. Do what you want. But they were very, very quick to delete their stuff and hide their evidence, but it was too late. Millions of people ended up seeing it, and it was kind of posted to the Anti-Feminism Australia page, and that was sort of the tipping point for me. I had to come out at that point. I had to come out as someone who totally opposes feminism, and I'm not afraid to say it anymore now. Obviously, there will be a lot of disagreements. I've already been in debate with people about this. And this video, the first half of this video, I'm trying to explain some key. I've already done it, but I'll reiterate or rehash some key points that come from feminism. Why feminism is cancer. I mean, it is. It may sound egregious, but I think this brand of feminism has gone way too far. And talking to some female friends of mine, I now can see it. No. I now can literally see what feminism does. Okay. So, so I'll probably start off with sort of this point here, and this is sort of the first observation I made with feminism. Feminism really attracts a lot of white knights. Okay. Now, my definition of white knights is a female apologist. Okay. For me, a white knight and female apologist are one and the same. So someone who would defend a woman even if she was in the wrong. If that makes sense. I think there were a lot of white knights there like that still kept on going even after this whole mess was revealed. So I have a special disdain for white knights now, and I'm very quick to spot them. I'm very quick to call them out on it, and yeah, if they want to respond a certain way, go ahead. Come at me. I'll take yous all 1v1. Okay? Fucking hate white knights. I'm sure a lot of MGTOW men, we all hate white knights. Now, women, they tend to love white knights. They do. But, obviously, they would never fuck these white knights. Okay? White knights, you can also think of it as male feminists as well. Scum of the earth. Scum of the earth. Because they think that being a feminist, well, this is one reason. They think that being a feminist, right, is going to get themselves in the good books of women. From a friendship point, yes. But from, you know, from a sexual point of view, male feminists are not getting any. I'll tell you that. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I used to act like that. I didn't consider myself a male feminist, but I used to act like that, and obviously changed my ways. I've taken the bad road, the badass road. And don't get me wrong, it has been wonderful. I mean, I was just got off a sort of a Skype chat with a female friend of mine from America, and she saw me and it's like, holy crap, you know, you've become badass, if that makes sense. You're really on the right track, and that's why MGTOW for me. I mean, obviously I try to avoid all the level four, level three, level four misogynistic hate stuff. I try to because I still hold hope. I hold hope where there is. I just choose not to indulge per se because I've got better things to do than worry about these bitches, right? Um so yeah, this is why, I think the idea that males need to be feminists, men need to be feminists just to get in the good books of women, it doesn't work. It really doesn't. And trust me on it, it never does. You know. So yeah, as I said, feminists just feminism attracts white knights. White knights, female apologists, male feminists, as I said, special disdain for them. And then I've got obviously a lot of facts that I can sort of back to talk about certain things. Okay. Um, the second thing I want to mention about feminism is it is repelling good women. This is the thing about feminism. I think now, according to at least Milo, because he's sort of my main stats guy or whatever. So I think 18%, about 18 to 20% of women, they identify themselves as feminists. Think about it, 1 in 5. So if there were 10 girls, you'd expect that 2 of them would identify themselves as feminists. Think about it. Think about it. I would have thought, like, because I think that let's sort of just review everything. I think the whole idea of first wave, second wave feminism, sort of the stuff that I support true equality, but I support equality of opportunity. And that was what the first and second wave feminists um, preached. They preached equality of opportunity. Okay, it wasn't sort of when third wave, the whole third wave started about 20 years ago, which is sort of an offspring of radical second wave feminism. Getting this from Christina Hoff Sommers, just the history of it at least. Once we get to this third wave feminism, then we sort of elevated the whole idea of equality of opportunity to equality of outcome. Now, liberals, the liberal left, or the progressive, or shall we say, regressive left, because at the end of the day, feminism is a regressive movement. No sane person can consider the modern feminism, modern third wave feminism, no sane person can consider that a progressive movement. It is a very, very regressive movement, just like modern Islamism. Okay, but I'm going to avoid talking about that. This is probably not the appropriate channel for it. Okay, so once we sort of, obviously many women fought for equality of opportunity. They wanted to have the same rights as a man, right? They wanted the same opportunities in the workplace. They wanted the same opportunities in, say, in schooling, in the education. And and I believe these things are good, you know. This should be the defining achievement of feminism. The ability for women to vote, which is sort of the first wave, the suffragette movement. The ability for them to go seek work and to be paid as much as a man. Gender wage gap is a myth. We've talked about this. The ability for them to go to school, you know, have the same opportunity to earn, not to earn, but to get good grades. That's the only ones I can think of off the top of my head, at least. You know, to be on the same level footing as a man at the start. I think that should be the defining achievement of feminism. Now we've gone to a point where all that good work created by the first and second wave feminists, it's just gone down the drain with third wave. As I said, we now have confused equality, which is what they're sort of blanketing themselves under, with what they're really standing for, which is female supremacy. Again, the whole misandry, the whole man hating, you know. To be honest, MGTOW, MRA, this would not exist if feminism didn't go this far. I really believe that. Maybe MGTOW not MGTOW is a bit more different. MRA would definitely not exist without without third wave feminism. Because at the end of the day, once you go too far, you need to balance things out. It's basic karmic law. I know a lot of people don't believe in supernatural forces, but karma exists, right? There's always a karmic balance. With a good, there's always a bad. Well, in this case, with a bad, there's always a good. I won't say there's a good, but there's a yin to a yang. That's a better way to put it. There's a yin to a yang. In this case, men's rights activism is a yin to the yang of feminism. And as I said, if we took out third wave feminism, men's rights wouldn't exist. MGTOW is a bit different because I think MGTOW is about exposing female nature, you know, exposing the science of women, if that makes sense, and why we should avoid the traps in place. Okay? So I was talking about feminism detracting women and sort of why that's the case. Well, if I think a lot of women are starting to wake up, right? I've talked about this with my female friend from America. We've kind of agreed that. Sorry, I'm just trying to get in that we all believe that equality is about being on the same level at the start, having the same opportunities. Now, if you squandered your opportunity, tough luck. You got to make the most of it. And you can't. This is the problem with feminism. It's all about trying to pick themselves back up after their own opportunities have been squandered. And this is what makes it so cancerous, right? This is why we have, you know, women that have just totally hit the wall, expecting someone to give them something, you know, to make them happy. It doesn't work like that, you squandered your opportunity. You've you've lost the right to, how do I put it? You've lost the right. You've lost the right to the same outcome. I think I would recommend looking at Sargon of Akkad's video on equality of opportunity versus equality of outcome. That is a perfect video. Okay, I would recommend that. So I'm, I think I got sidetracked a little bit. So I'm trying to talk about how feminism attracts women. So as I said, women are waking up to this realization that this movement that they used to support, which stood for gender equality, equal opportunity for men and women, has now become a movement where women demand the same things that a man has. Now, a man, like, this whole belief that women can have it all. I think a lot of feminists, although a lot of anti feminist women, actually understand that they can't have it all. You either got to have a good career or you be a stay at home mother. And this whole idea of feminists vilifying the stay at home mother role is a load of crock. A load of crock. As I said, I have massive respect for stay at home mothers. In fact, I would love to see an equitable arrangement between a man and a woman which relied on traditional gender roles, where the man, you know, how do I put it? Where a man basically, I wouldn't say provide for a woman. I know you MGTOW are gonna rip into me saying don't be that beat and provider guy. I think it's not about that. It's about the man being the head of the house, him being, I guess, the patriarch. I'll get onto the patriarchy soon. And I'm talking about the patriarchy, not the actual patriarchy that we have, that I'm talking about, where the man is the head of the house, the woman is the one that provides for the home, you know. So the man is the one that tries to provide, try to collect resources for the house. The woman is the one that provides for the house and then for the other inhabitants of the house, if that makes sense. I do not mind that being an equitable arrangement. What I do mind is the whole idea of feminists trying to, I won't say shake it down. I don't mind if it gets shook down. I do mind when they shame women into this whole, you got to be a don't be a stay-at-home mom. You can work and then you can have a man and all this. You can't. This is, I said, 4 out of 5 women are waking up to this reality. Okay. Then so on the same line as well, feminists who say these, like, anti-feminist women, they've seen the cancer that it's become. They signed up for a movement that represented equality, and that they've been lied to. They've been sold a lie where what they were initially wanting was gender equality, now is becoming special privileges, you know, this whole notion of female privilege now.
right? I don't want to talk about that. I, right? They want entitlement. They want to be on top of men. This whole power struggle, and I don't believe power struggles work in general. I mean, the left love it. The left love trying to have power struggles. You know, that's why they love the idea of a big. They love the idea of policing things. They love the idea of having someone at the top telling them what to do, whereas people on the right, like myself, we don't give a fuck what people tell us to do. We do our own thing, you know? We want to be left alone. You want minimal interference, as minimal as possible. Just get back to doing the things that we want to do. Okay? And this is why I think I mentioned this once. Feminists and Islam are kind of in the same league because they're very good at shutting people up. And that's the other thing I would say about feminists attracting white knights and detracting good women. You know, good women know how to stand up for themselves. Bad women want other people to stand up for themselves, right? So when you actually know how to stand up for yourself, you don't need to be dependent on other forces. Now, the left encourages dependence on other forces, specifically the government, or shall we say, daddy government, because when I've talked about this in the last video when I talked about marriage, marriage is basically a contract between a man and a woman with daddy government sitting on top of them. It's inviting the government to your bedroom, pretty much. Yeah? And also, like, white knights just love to shut other men up. They love they love it when their opinion is the only one that matters and others' opinions are shut down. So this is why I said feminism really attracts these people. Okay. So now I sort of try to talk about patriarchy. Well, there's not really anything to say about patriarchy except it's just this fallacy that they have in their brains, that feminists have in their brains, to think that they're oppressed by men. They're deluded if they think they're oppressed by men. Right. So so really the question now, and this is sort of my finishing point on this topic, where is what is the need for feminism now? Now, right now, I think in third world countries, for example, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, so a lot of the Islamic countries, are the poorer African countries where there are problems with gender equality. You know, a lot of women find it very hard to go to school. So you all know sort of the case of Malala Yousafzai, I think that's her name. It's the Afghan girl who couldn't go to school because the Taliban don't let women go to school. And then, well, obviously, the whole her story is another issue for another day. But those kind of problems, right? Let's back up. So those kind of problems, they're real feminist problems, you know. I remember, I think I just saw a picture of the feminist of all feminists. Well, not the cancer one, but let's say the more moderate, inverted comma, feminist, Emma Watson. She was in Malawi, I think, you know, going round to a school there where the women there, they had their marriages annulled and they were still in secondary school. So
She was trying to celebrate with them. She was going to visit them, so she visited them, and yeah, those kind of things, where women are sort of forced into marriages. So in those countries, I have no problem with, and this is why I remember my cousin posting this the other day. I think a feminist that wants universal gender equality, that's something I could support, right? A feminist that wants to maintain equality of opportunity, I'm open to supporting that. What I am not open to, okay, what I am not open to, and what I will slam down in a heartbeat, okay? So obviously, white knights, female apologists, male feminists, they can all go to hell. I'll slam you down in a heartbeat. I will be relentless in trying to slam you down, physically and verbally. If you want to try physically, go ahead. Now, the things that I will not support, this whole idea that there is a rape and sexual harassment culture in the West, in Western societies. That is a load of bullshit. Okay. First of all, we a culture. Let's actually just dissect that word and define it. Define it properly. Here, culture. Let's see if I can find the arts. That's probably a bad definition. Let's see if I can find the definition of it. Yeah. Let's try dictionary.com. So I'm just trying to find a good definition that I can. Here. Okay. The culture is a quality in a person or society. So in this case, society. So culture in this case is the quality in a society that arises from a concern for what is regarded as excellent, or that which is excellent. If there was this thing called a rape culture or a sexual harassment culture, then it's been treated as if we celebrate such incidents. But we don't. We lock these guys up. You know, I always tell a woman, if you ever feel that you are in a position where you're going to be potentially raped or sexually harassed, call the police. It's easy as that. And of course, we know, knowing MGTOW, the law is on their side, or the police are on their side. Generally, they are quick to believe women who have been raped. Or obviously, in MGTOW circles, we know about the whole idea of false rape allegations. But I'm talking about real rape allegations. Okay, so if you ever feel in a position, but we're not talking about if guys giving you a high five or something. But if your guy is trying to come onto you too strong and you don't want to do it, for those women who feel like there's a guy who's trying to come onto her too strong, then you can call the police there. Not like what happened on Sunday, where a man, like the Laura Miller girl, she pretty much took it to Facebook instead of calling the police. If she claimed that she was sexually harassed, she needs to call the police. Even if it was false, at least you've done the right thing in reporting it to the police. Okay, so we don't celebrate rape. We don't celebrate sexual harassment. There is no there is no sane man out there that goes around, ha ha, ha, she got raped. Damn, that was. Oh, ha, ha." No, no sane man does that. Okay, any person that does that is sick in the head. But the idea that there is a culture of rape, the idea that rape is celebrated, that is a whole load of bullshit. Right. Now, is there a prevalence of rape in Western societies? Well, again, up for debate. I'm erring on the side of there is no significant prevalence of rape. Now, the figures I'm according to Milo Yiannopoulos, it's around 7% of women are raped, and I think Lauren Southern also talked about something in the vicinity of 10%. Again, I don't know where these stats exactly come from. I'm not the best when it comes to these things, to collecting stats. I've got other things to do with my life. So, yeah, there is no such thing as a rape culture or a sexual harassment culture. So this myth dispelled quickly. Okay, so that's one big thing I won't support. Gender pay gap. I mean, there is an earnings gap, but the earnings gap is caused. I've talked about this before. Sorry. So the earnings gap is caused by a woman's choice to start a family, for example, or work less hours in order to because a woman tends to be more nurturing. Maybe she has to support her dying mother. You know. So these they make certain choices that forces them to work less. So that's an explainable factor for the earnings gap. As far as the wage gap is concerned, there is minimal to none. The idea that there is a 23% wage gap is a load of bullcrap. That's earnings gap. And that's earnings gap take blinded by job occupation type. So this the average salary for that occupation type. Right? So it's basically just to add up all the stats. Again, anybody who still refuses to acknowledge that the gender pay gap is a myth needs a basic lesson in statistics. I'm free to offer anyone lessons in statistics. I'm a mathematician myself, so hit me up if you need any stats help or maths help. Okay? So that's a myth. I won't support that. I won't support a woman who thinks that a male is privileged in society. At the end of the day, privilege is something that you earn, man or woman. The idea that a man is always privileged because he is a man, that's just an example of identity politics. I don't care about identity politics. I don't care about being labeled. Yes, I can say I am a Muslim conservative, well, far right conservative, let's say Tea Party level, a Muslim far right conservative man, cisgender straight man, I should say. I could say that, but I don't. I'm just me. That's it. The whole idea of male privilege, the patriarchy, the whole idea that women are not oppressed, by the way. It's very, very evident in society that a woman is favored in the court system. Okay. What else? Let's. I'm probably gonna find feminist buzzwords. Feminist buzzwords. Uh, social justice. Well, the whole idea of sex, cisgender. You talked about that. My proves hate speech. Yeah. Trigger warning, sexist, racist, microaggression, equality. Now, there's no such thing as obviously perfect equality, but we talk about equality of opportunity. Perfect equality is equality of outcome, and obviously that is impossible to attain. Although feminists believe that equality of outcome is still possible. Ah, yes, institutionalized sexism. Oh, yes. Anybody who claims that there is institutionalized sexism, I can't I can't back you up. Again, I've given all of you a well, I've given many feminists a way to beat me. And the way to beat me is facts, logic, reason, rational thought. Stop playing to your emotions and feelings. I don't give a fuck about how facts make you feel or how anything makes you feel. It's all about presenting with the facts, analyzing it, having well me being of scientific mind to be able to analyze it, rather than this whole notion of this stat makes me feel offended, so I'm going to ignore it. This stat, this feels nice, so I'm going to use it. That's not how things work. You can't pick and choose stats. You got to, I guess, look at the whole thing. Get tired. Crap. Had a long day. Yeah. So I will. In short, I'm probably going to finish this one off. I stand for a woman's right for equal opportunity in whatever facet there is. What I will not stand for is a woman's right to an entitlement or a woman entitled to have the same outcome as a man. That's what I will not support. And that is why I don't support feminism anymore. I believe it's gone too far down the road you know, where there is no, what do you call it? Where everything has to be the same, equality of outcome basically. Where all the outcomes have to be equal for man and woman. Why can't we celebrate the differences in gender? Why do we have to why do men and women have to be the same? They can have the same opportunities, but why do they have to be the same? Why can't we, you know, obviously men are better at some things, women are better at some things. Why can't we play to those advantages? Why can't we try to help? Why, men also have disadvantages, women also have disadvantages. Obviously, feminists believe they have to exploit those disadvantages, but this is not about exploitation. This is about uh, feminism. How do I put it? Sorry, I'm just trying to get the words right. So this is about. Oh, now I've lost my train of thought. Fuck. I'm just trying to remember what I said last. So yeah, so this is basically about women. You know, I'm just trying to retract my stuff. So I won't stand for a woman who wants the same thing, you know. So, oh yeah, I was talking about disadvantages, advantages. Sorry for that. So a man has a certain advantage and a woman has a certain advantage. We try to celebrate those advantages. But then what obviously both genders have disadvantages. Why don't we try to work together to solve those? You know, to turn I want to turn disadvantage to advantage, but to for a woman to make use of a man's advantages where she's at a disadvantage and vice versa. That's called working together. That's called teamwork. Teamwork is not about everyone being the same and a homogenous society just doesn't work. It We've tried it in North Korea. We've tried it in Nazi Germany. We've tried it in Stalinist Russia. Homogenous society doesn't work. And that is what feminists want. Feminists are far left socialist. Can we say bigoted? Misandric, bitchy, bitter cunts. That's what feminists are. Now, the feminist I want is someone who listens to reason, someone who took for granted the achievements of her predecessors. Someone who's done that. That's what a modern feminist is. A real feminist would celebrate the achievements of her predecessors. That's what a real feminist does. I'm gonna finish it here. Again, when it comes to feminism, I always go way over the intended length. But I had to bring this up because I think it sort of clarifies this whole feminist opinion, the opinion I have against feminism. Otherwise, we're just going to keep getting the same cases over and over again. And the left will just pander to these feminists because they just don't want the whole hassle of actually tackling hard issues. Whereas the conservatives like me, we want to tackle these really, really tricky issues. Okay, so I'm going to finish it here. Uh, Thank you very much for watching. Like this video and please subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much. MGTOW guys. And don't forget, feminism is cancer.